One dead in Scotland as storms disrupt travel, threaten flooding in Europe. Strong winds and heavy rain battered Scotland Thursday, disrupting rail and road traffic as northwestern Europe braced for heavy storms sweeping across the North Atlantic and North Sea. A truck driver was killed in West Lothian, west of Edinburgh, when his truck overturned and struck over vehicles. 4 others involved in the collision suffered minor injuries, Police Scotland said in a statement. Britain's Environment Agency warned the country could experience severe flooding as it anticipates the most serious coastal tidal surge in more than 60 years. Residents in some towns and cities on the Norfolk coast were evacuating. In some areas, sea levels could be higher than those during the devastating floods of 1953, the agency said in a statement, although it said the flood defenses are better now than they were then. The 1953 North Sea storm surge killed about 1,800 people in the Netherlands and more than 300 in the UK, according to the British Met Office. Gales of up to 90 mph spread across the region. In some mountainous areas, wind speeds of more than 140 mph were recorded overnight, the British Weather Office said. Scotland's train authority, ScotRail, suspended all service and motorists were advised to delay journeys. Some flights serving Scotland were also disrupted. The strong winds also hit electricity networks in Scotland and elsewhere. Northern Ireland Electricity said about 60,500 customers were without power. In Germany, the DWD Weather Service issued high-level warning for northern coastal regions. It said Arctic polar air would stream into the country. In the Netherlands, KLM said it had canceled a significant number of flights to European destinations. And next is about most arrested men to face judge as friends hope for Christmas miracle. A lot of folks in Lexington, Kentucky are hoping for a Christmas miracle for the cities and perhaps the world's most arrested man. It's a dubious honor for sure, but Henry Earl, 64, has become a sort of celebrity, especially among students and police in the city of 300,000. To many, the homeless gent goes by James Brown, after the godfather of soul, and can often be found singing and shaking his money-maker for a chance to buy his next drink. Hence, the arrests, which have topped 1,500 according to the Smoking Gun, which is owned by CNN's parent company. Earl is scheduled to appear in Fayette County Court Thursday for a probation revocation hearing after being arrested for alcohol intoxication last week, landing him in jail for his third Thanksgiving in 5 years. He'd also spent his 64th birthday there in October, the Smoking Gun reported. There was a period where we couldn't access his arrests. We think he has likely passed 1,600, but decided to play it safe, site editor William Baston said in an email. The Smoking Gun has become a sort of de facto repository for Earl's arrest statistics, The site says he's logged almost 6,000 collective days in jail. For instance, and in September 2008, corrected a local television station that aired a report stating Earl had been arrested for the 1,000th time. Not so, the site reported Earl had been arrested 1,332 times as of August 31st, 2008. The station, it turned out, hadn't accessed the records before 1992, admitting 264 arrested in the 1970s and 1980s alone. The Smoking Gun said, "We have literally been following Henry Earl's arrest history for more than a decade. We even devoted a page to him in our last book." Baston wrote, "We have continued to monitor his arrested and the days he has been incarcerated as a result of those callers." Lexington police and Fayette County Jail officials say they can't confirm an exact number because their records go back only 1992. Earls began his arrest career in 1970, but Lexington police spokeswoman Sherelle Roberts said Earl has definitely been in handcuffs more than 1,000 times. "It's a weekly, if not every 2 or 3 days thing," she said. "He's never doing bad or illegal things purposely. He's just so highly intoxicated that he's posing a danger to himself." Almost all of his arrests have been for alcohol intoxication, though there's the occasional criminal trespass. Roberts said, "There have even been times when Earl was released from the Fayette County Jail in the evening, only to return by midnight. One anecdote, and there are many places fresh out of the clink Earl in a sandwich shop near the University of Kentucky campus, telling jokes and dancing for change," wrote commentator Douglas Hurt on the Smoking Gun website. "We talked outside and he said he needed a place to go and look around like he was looking for someone. Next thing I know is that a cop drives by and Henry says, 'Welp, here's my ride,' and grabs someone's drink and throws it at the cop car," Hurt wrote. Lately, judges have started handing down harsher sentences, jail spokeswoman Jennifer Taylor said. She said some of Earl's sentences in recent years have lasted 3 months. He's been arrested 5 times this year, she said. In the past, when his sentences were shorter, it was common for Earl to rack up dozens of arrests in a year, she said. "Most people on the streets of Lexington know who he is," Taylor said. A local band, the Danglers, even wrote a song about him for a few years back. The chorus goes, "So tell Henry Earl I wanna be his girl. He's sanest guy in town and he can dance just like James Brown, unlike the other boys around that made me cry." There have been signs that Earl might change his way. In 2009, he attended an alcohol recovery program for about 5 months before falling off the wagon a few days shy of his graduation, said attorney Stephen Gray McFadden, who represented Earl 3 times in 2008 and 2009. Earl was en route to getting an apartment and food stamp benefits, so McFadden was particularly disappointed when Earl snaps his spate of sobriety in April 2009. He was telling me how sorry he was. He was actually in tears, the lawyer recalled. McFadden took up Earl's case pro bono after deciding that the town dysmaniac was an easy target for police officers looking for a quick collar. He just gets in the car and his handcuffs and rides, McFadden said of Earl, adding that when Earl gets in front of the judge, he pleads guilty in 5 minutes. Earl, who began drinking in his teens when his adoptive mother died, may have a fear of being sober, McFadden said. Several people have tried to help him, including Fayette County District Court Judge Megan Lake Thornton, who allowed him to go to rehab in 2009, even though the statute calls for 90 days in jail. She gave us a lot of leeway to work with Henry. A lot of his successes in the past are due to her giving him chances in the first place, the attorney said. Most judges are thoughtful about how wasteful it is to put someone away for 90 days for being drunk. Despite that, Earl lists no one as next of kin in his booking records. And McFadden said the only family of which he is aware lives in Georgetown, about 30 miles north of Lexington. Earl once declined an offer to relocate to Pittsburgh so he could get away from the elements, and that drove him back to drinking. He likes Lexington and doesn't want to leave. The good thing is he knows where stuff is. The bad thing is he knows where stuff is, McFadden said. The attorney is holding out hope for a Christmas miracle, though. Seeing Earl kick the booze habit for good. He's not the only one. Ginny Ramsey, co-founder of Lexington's Catholic Action Center, says she considers the very pleasant Earl a friend. He occasionally drops by the center for a bed or a bite to eat, but he's pretty independent, she said. You can't help but love him, I tell you. He's as honest as the day is long, she said. With Henry Earl, you are going to hear the truth. She said Wednesday that she might give Thornton a call and offer to house him at the all-volunteer non-profit center, where putting a roof over his head will cost $2.5 a night rather than the $80 a day the jail costs taxpayers. But she concedes, until someone is sick and tired of being sick and tired, it's not going to work. The center staff was within an inch of getting him on the right path last year, but Earl told her with the trademark smile on his face, I'm not ready, she said. Maybe this year it'll take. I don't think it's going to take any more winters, and this one may be the one, Ramsey said. There's never going to be a time when I'm not going to find something, even if it's one of our couches for Henry Earl. And next, Nirbhaya victim of India gang rape fought for justice. Nearly 1 year after the gang rape and murder of a 23-year-old woman in India, CNN's Words Untold Stories takes a look at the events of this defining case in India's history through the eyes of those most closely involved, the girl's parents, the chief police investigator, and one of her doctors. For the first time, hear inclusive details about what happened behind closed doors in the hospital and the courtroom. The colorful busy streets of New Delhi, India's capital, are a mixture of old and new. Some people have modern attitudes while others remain rooted in ancient values. A 23-year-old female medical student from Balia in India's Uttar Pradesh state had set out to change that. She had plans to give free medical care to the needy, to provide for her family, and to change those perceptions that a woman can't dream big in a traditionally male-dominated society. She was the bridge between India, old and new. But what happened to her on December 16, 2012, would be the country's tipping point, a rap that shook the nation. In India, there are laws for protection of rape victims. These laws prohibit naming or showing a victim, which is why we will refer to her only as Nabihaya, one of the many names given to her by the public and the Indian media. In Hindi, it means the fearless one. In an apartment provided by the government, the young woman's mother, Asha Devi, said her daughter had dreams of providing free medical care to those who could not afford it. She also said her daughter was a pillar of strength to the family, which includes two brothers. Nabihaya's father, Badrunas Singh, a baggage handler at the Delhi airport, earned barely enough to make ends meet. He'd also shared his daughter's dream. We did everything we could for her education, he told us. I worked double shifts, sold our only piece of land in the village, and went beyond my capacity so that she could study. Doing a 16-hour shift and at my age is very difficult, but I still did it. Last December, Nabihaya was scheduled to start an internship. Her parents wanted her to have some fun. She thought of going to a movie. Her mother agreed. Otherwise, she would not have had a chance to relax for another few months. So Nabihaya and a male friend set out to an upscale Delhi mall to watch Ang Lee's Life of Pi. That night was December 16, 2012. The next time Singh and Devi would see their daughter, she'd be fighting for her life. When Nabihaya and her friends finished the movie, they tried to find an auto rickshaw, a three-wheel taxi, to take them back to the outskirts of the city. It was a 45-minute drive no one was willing to take that night. Instead, they boarded a white bus at a busy bus stop. It was not late at night. She was not out alone. They were taking public transportation. She had done all the things women all over the world are told to do in the interest of safety. It was not enough. On the bus were 5 other male passengers and a male driver. At first, nothing seemed out of the ordinary. But shortly after they boarded the bus, her male friend was beaten, and the young woman was dragged to the back of the bus and violently gang-raped. The men took turns, even violating her with an iron rod. They beat them both within an inch of their lives, as the bus drove around Delhi for over an hour. Then the men dumped them on the side of the road, left for dead. No one would help them until a few police cars showed up. According to the male friend, the policemen weren't sure who had jurisdiction. They waited for an ambulance that never came, he said. So he carried his bleeding friend to a police van, and they took her to Safdarjung Hospital. The atrocious, unbelievable injuries that she had sustained we had never seen before, said Dr. Mishra. one of the many doctors who would treat her in the coming days. In my almost 40 years of career, I have never witnessed such a horrific, brutality by human beings. Her mother, waiting at home, sensed something was awry. That day she didn't call back after leaving home, she said. Usually she would call us and inform as soon as she reached the place. It was 8:30 and we hadn't heard from her. We tried calling her but she didn't answer the phone. They waited and called again. It seems as if she dropped her phone while trying to answer and the line got disconnected, her mother said. They called again, but this time her daughter's cell phone was switched off. When the phone finally rang, it was not their daughter on the other end. It was someone at Sefdarjung Hospital, telling them their daughter was in surgery. When they found their daughter later, they were speechless. What was in front of our eyes was hard to even imagine. Devi, her mother said, we didn't know how to react for the first few moments. Their daughter lay on a stretcher, but she was conscious. She looked at me and started crying, her dad recalled. He tried to soothe his only daughter. Keep calm, and do not worry anymore, he told her. He would take care of everything, he assured her. I couldn't be with her for long, he said. I just couldn't see her in so much pain. I would keep visiting her every few hours but wouldn't stay longer. I'd go and pat on her head. At times, she'd be sleeping. She would smile whenever she saw me, but I didn't have the courage to see her like that. Nirbhaya told her mother they beat her badly. What could she say? Even I didn't have the courage to ask her anything. Devi said she was in great pain, so we never asked her anything. Even in so much pain, Nirbhaya tried to reassure her parents. She kept telling them, don't worry, I'm doing better and will get better very soon. Unfortunately, what happened to Nirbhaya is not uncommon in India. The country with the combination of conservative, male-dominated think and weak law enforcement had recently been in the spotlight for widespread violence against women, but it is not a new problem. In 2012, there were 706 reported rapes in Delhi alone. Nationwide, a woman is raped every 20 minutes, but those numbers don't tell the whole story. Most rapes are never reported and never prosecuted, mainly to avoid the stigma of damaged honor in a country where victims of sexual assault are often viewed with suspicion. But it was what happened next that made this case different. Within days, word had spread across India and around the world. The brutal nature of the attack had struck a nerve, and in the thousands, Indian citizens, both men and women, took to the streets in protest. Enough was enough, they shouted. It is time to protect women in India. In the hospital, Nirbhaya and her parents weren't aware of what was happening until a doctor showed them a news case. They saw the protesters. They also saw the police trying to keep them at bay with water cannons. That day, I feel whatever I was happening wasn't right, said Nirbhaya's father. Our daughter's life was already at stake. If this protest took animal lives, it would have been worse. It was winter and water cannons would have caused much harm. At that time, through media, I appealed to the public to maintain calm. We never thought something like this could ever happen to us, said her mother. It shook the entire nation and led to public outrage on the streets. After seeing all that, we feel humanity still prevails on this earth. Meanwhile, lead police investigator Chahaya Sharma and her team worked tirelessly to find the rapist. In the hospital, Sharma said Nabhaya was crucial in providing clues to the police. She and the male friend helped lead investigators to the white bus and to its driver, Ram Singh, who had driven the bus around as the gang rape took place. He eventually led him to the other 5 men who had been on board that night. By December 22nd, according to Sharma, all 6 suspects had been arrested. But back in the hospital, Nabhaya was slowly losing her fight. The vicious attack had damaged her intestines, which had been removed. The decision was made to transfer her to a hospital in Singapore, but she developed an infection and later died there on December 29, 2012. Her brother's father and I had gone with her to Singapore, said Nabhaya's mother. All 4 of us were standing right next to her when she took her last breath. What could we do? We quietly kept on gazing at her from one corner, crying. Being in a foreign land, we didn't know anybody. We couldn't even understand their language, so we had no idea what the doctors were saying among themselves. The doctor came to them. Sorry, there's nothing we can do now. That's when we realized our daughter was no more, her mother said. With heavy heart, Nabhaya's family returned to India at the end of 2012 with their daughter's body. When the news spread that she had died, anger turned to grief. The protests became villages. To tell you the truth, I saw on TV what was happening outside but could not register anything, as our minds were preoccupied by something else, said Nabhaya's father. We understood the magnitude of the impact of this incident only once I reached my native village with my daughter's ashes. That's when I figured it wasn't ordinary. People kept coming and sharing with us all that had happened in past few days. So after listening to all those stories, I realized we're not alone. We have full support of our fellow citizens, media, and police in our fight for justice. That fight for justice would be a long and complicated road. The charge against the accused were rape, kidnapping, and murder, with the public in the streets once again. The prosecution decided it would fast-track the trial. In the courtroom, Nabhaya's parents came face to face with their alleged attackers. They were forced to hear accounts of unspeakable violence against their daughter, time and time again. The convicts shows no remorse, said Nabhaya's mother. They were not even ashamed of what they had done. They were very casual, sometimes even cracking jokes during the trial. It didn't really affect me looking at them, said her father. If there are demons in society and there are also angels, because of their deeds, our family is suffering, and so must be theirs. Whatever happened has caused pain on both sides. We are suffering as we lost a loved one. Their families will suffer if they lost them. People like them don't just ruin one family but thousands of families because of their evil acts. The trial went on for months. Then, in March 2013, the bus driver Ram Singh was found dead in his jail cell, where he had apparently hanged himself. And the 6th suspect, a minor at the time of the attack, was convicted in a juvenile court. He was sentenced to only 3 years in a rehabilitation center, prompting further outrage from the public and the family. The fate of the remaining 4 suspects remained with the fast-track court. The guilty verdict the entire country had been waiting for came in September. In a stunning move for a country that really condemns to death penalty, the 4 convicted men were indeed sentenced to die. 10 months since the death of their daughter, Nabhaya's parents finally felt they had justice. The incident sparks reaction from across the nation, said her mother. There was so much public outrage due to the brutality involved. The convicts were also handed out punishment according to the crime they committed. So I'm hopeful it should set a precedent and help change the way people think. To India, Nabhaya has become a symbol of bravery, courage, and change. But to her parents, she will always be their baby girl. Our grief can be measured, her father said quietly. Whatever maximum limit you can think of will still fall short of the pain we went through. I don't have words to describe my loss. We had lost sense of everything, from eating to sleeping to everything else. We had lost track of a day and night. Everything had come to a standstill. Nearly a year after the attack, India is a changed country. Women and men are standing up for their rights, the rights to be protected in their own cities and in their own homes. Since the attack, police said more women are reporting crimes against them. India's law have also been changed to widely expand protection of sexual assault victims. That will be the lasting legacy of Nirbhaya, a girl India has never met in person, never seen. The girl who did not allow anyone to come into contact with her to feel sorry for her situation. The girl who reassured her parents she would be okay. The girl who helped police track down her attackers. The girl who lived for nearly 2 weeks when no one gave her a chance to make it through the first night. The girl they called Nabhaya, the fearless one. My daughter put up a tough fight against her attackers and didn't give in until her last breath, said Nabhaya's mother. I want her to be remembered as a brave heart.